You know what's funny? I thought I had already said what I needed to say about Final Fantasy 15 when I did my review a year ago. But here we are in 2017, Square Enix is Santa Claus, and Final Fantasy 15 is the game that just keeps on giving you stuff that you already paid for, and they want to charge you for it again. In said review that I did a year ago, I made a particular bold and controversial comment about Final Fantasy 15. It was a comment that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I said that Final Fantasy 15 was the very first AAA beta test of a Japanese RPG. And as you can surmise, a lot of people didn't take too kindly to that comment. Any name in the book, every name in the book, I was called it. Nostalgia tard who does not want to accept this new fancy iteration of the Final Fantasy franchise. A Witcher 3 fanboy, which I don't know how that's a derogatory comment because it's one of the greatest games of all time. Also next to one of the, not greatest games of all time, but a pretty damn good game. Pretty awesome game. It's just so funny because I made that video to try to tell you guys what would happen if you supported the Final Fantasy 15 Season Pass. That Season Pass that Square Enix had the gall to charge. What is it? $24.99? $29.99? Way too much 99. It was funny because everyone and their dog said that, oh, the DLC's not even out yet. How do you know it's not going to be worth it? It's going to have such meaty experience. It's totally worth the price of admission up front. And what happens? Here we are a year later. Almost all of those DLCs have been released. And there wasn't much to them. Yeah, so much for that great narrative structure that would explain what happened in the game. And it's funny because they're thinking about doing a second wave of this junk. We gotta stop bullshitting ourselves. I'm not apologizing for saying that. Because it is true. When Square Enix releases one of the most highly anticipated games of 2 generations now in a broken, buggy, somewhat unplayable, where the campaign, the story, can be completed in under 15 hours because all the story has been gutted to sell back as DLC, where this narrative structure and storytelling is so piss poor that it's brainwashed people into thinking that they need extra DLC to learn more about the characters instead of it already being in the base game. When you have a game that has a chapter that is so universally panned that they have to go back and try to fix it before people will even play it, when they're patching in features that were shown off with the game's reveal 3-4 plus years ago, they're patching that a year later. Somehow we're supposed to applaud all of this. No. I'm sorry, but this isn't something to get excited about. This is not how you add longevity to a game. By all accounts, Square Enix should be obligated to release all this stuff for free. And you know me, I like to play devil's advocate with everything. I am not against downloadable content in the slightest. The Witcher 3 has some of the best DLC released with its expansion packs. So no, this isn't a DLC, this isn't a consumer versus the big business, no. This is somebody who purchased the game day one and was so pissed off with what I got with the package that I don't see the justification in going out there and spending $30 on one season pass, $30 on another season pass, and all this waiting in between. You are beta testing a RPG where they expect you to go back a year later to play a feature that was shown off years ago. And before anyone comes in here with the BS like, oh, if the game was in development for 10 years, of course there's going to be some changes. You got to blame Tetsuya Nomura because then Tabata had to come in to save it. No. No. The time for blaming people is over when you spent your full price, hard-earned money on this game. And some of y'all bought like the super duper collector's edition. So excuse me for having standards. Excuse me for expecting story content that was so narratively disjarring, me expecting that stuff to be released for free instead of me having to pay for it. Oh, I'm the bad guy here. When in all other Japanese RPGs from before this game and after have had segments where you can play as multiple people, and in some cases you're not even playing as the main character. Excuse me for wanting that stuff in the game. Excuse me for wanting to know what happened from one chapter to another and you're just suddenly confused. Well, what's happening here? What's happening there? Excuse me for wanting to get more out of this game for you guys. But no, I'm just a fanboy of The Witcher 3. I'm just a fanboy of Persona 5. But that doesn't really matter because Final Fantasy 15 outsold Persona 5 or some BS malarkey people like to spew. I told you guys this a year ago that if you kept supporting this business model, they would keep doing it. And look what they're doing. You keep talking about how you wanted the Arden expansion pack. You wanted to learn more about Arden. Arden, a character who we didn't know anything about until the last 10% of the game. You want to spend money to know? Could you imagine if Square Enix did that back when Final Fantasy VI released? Episode Kefka. You don't know anything about Kefka at all, so you gotta pay this DLC to know. Could you imagine if they did that with The Last of Us? Could you imagine if spoiler alert, if you haven't played The Last of Us at this point, whatever. Could you imagine if the segment where Joel is incapacitated and you have to play as Ellie, could you imagine if that stuff was just cut out entirely and it just fast forwarded and you don't even know what happened? You just gotta pay the DLC later. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. We can boycott EA, we can boycott Activision, we can boycott Ubisoft for all the stuff they do, but Square Enix, my Japanese games, we can't do that. Because they make Kingdom Hearts and all the spiky-haired emo people. I'm sorry if saying those sort of things offends you, but standards exist. There's a reason why people are still talking about The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077, a game that's not even out yet, because CD Projekt Red has crafted quality. There's a reason why people are always anticipating the next title for Atlus, no matter what subset of the Shin Megami Tensei franchise it is, no matter how long it takes, because Atlus has built up a quality resume, knowing not to piss people off. Square Enix, on the other hand, can release this game, sell it back to you bit by bit, and that's okay. I swear to God, if they do something like this for Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm probably just going to cancel that 4-year-old pre-order I have. Y'all know that pre-order on Amazon when they had it for $40. Hey man, couldn't beat it. Couldn't pass it up. But if this type of DLC nonsense makes its way into that game, I don't know what to tell you. We waited 10 years for them to do all this. 10 years, $100 later, and we should be thankful that we have the opportunity to pay them for this.